Today we're going to speak about my favorite scales, more specifically how I use them and which notes I love about them. I'm also going to mention or give you examples of how I combine these scales so they form basically new scales, and you take it from point A and you go to point B, and on the way you discover points C and D. Sounds crazy, I know, it is, but it's also a lot of fun. Of course, most importantly, we're going to speak about how you can adapt these scales into your playing style. So I'm going to be playing just a little bit to give people some time to join. Marianne, what's up? Welcome. Winston, what about some Silverchair? That's a cool band, but I don't know a lot about them. I should also mention that after the topic, which I'm going to cover now, about my favorite scales, I'm of course going to be taking any kind of questions or any thoughts you have, so we'll just jam away. But I'll basically be spending the first 15 minutes just going through some important theory stuff that I think is going to help you a lot if you want to be playing, you know, the kinds of leads and stuff like that, which I am doing in these streams. Current time 2:50 in the morning, jamming out. Awesome, man. So are you in, where are you in the world? I'm obviously in Europe here, and it's 9:50 in the morning, so not quite as bad. I'm guessing maybe you're in the US. Okay, so let's go now. I want to speak about my favorite scales. And not only that, but it's actually one of my favorite topics, because as you can imagine, I use these scales all the time when jamming over any kind of backing track. Now it happens to be like an 80s hard rock backing track from the GMC site, and I'm using B minor. But it could be any scale. Oh, Glycerine, I love that tune, but I haven't played it for a long time. Okay, Texas, US, that's what I suspected. So, I want to introduce to you my first and probably all-time favorite scale. You guessed it, it's the pentatonic scale. It's those 5 notes that you probably already encountered, because this shape is the most widely known scale shape, probably in the world, on the guitar at least. Now, the reason I like this scale so much is not only because of this handy shape where you have all the notes within one fret, at least for as far as the index finger goes. It's not because of its simplicity and all the millions of licks available to you. It's not because of that only. It's because those 5 notes are actually super strong notes. If we remove 2 of those notes and keep the root, the minor third, and the fifth, we have a minor chord, which means the perfect notes to play over a minor or even a power chord. The other notes, the 4th and the minor 7, if we bend them up, we get chord notes. So here we go. First note, B, and that's the root note. Then we have the minor third, which is part of the minor chord, and then the 4th, which is not part of anything, but we can bend it up and we get the 5th. Finally, we have the minor 7. If we bend that up, we get the root note. Sounds boring? Well, it's not when you when you start playing them in music. Now you might be asking yourself, wait a minute, Chris, you said there were 5 notes, you showed us 5 notes, and then you just played a lot of notes. That's because these 5 notes, they repeat all over the fretboard. And the reason they repeat is because we only have 12 notes at our disposal. The guitar only contains 12 notes. So even though you have a lot of places to fret, we only have 12 notes. So if we want to be playing 5 of those 12 notes, we will be repeating them throughout the fretboard. And that is precisely why you have different positions of the same scale. That helps you visualize where those 5 notes are all over the fretboard. It helps you visualize where those 5 out of 12 notes are on the fretboard. So one more time. I showed you the root, the minor third, the fourth, the fifth, and the minor 7, and then I played them all over. Root, minor third, fourth, fifth, minor 7, root. And it continues like that. Back to the notes I showed you here in this position, in this octave. Go. Atonal tapping, that's a topic for when we're done. Okay, but we're not speaking atonal now, we're speaking about the pentatonic scale, which is highly tonal. So, the pentatonic scale is probably my favorite scale. It's the one I use to whenever I want to get more melodic, whenever I want to catch the listener's ears with some melody. Sometimes you want to catch the listener's ears with some aggressive and fast playing, and even then you can use the pentatonic scale. That's what I call blazing pentatonics, but it's harder, right? It's easier to do this than to do this, but both are possible within the pentatonic scale. However, if you want a slightly less difficult way to play fast, then I would like to introduce to you my second favorite scale, and that is the minor scale. The minor scale is different from the pentatonic scale because it doesn't have 5 notes. Instead, it has 2 more, so a total of 7 notes. Now that might not sound like much, but I want to remind you again, we only have 12 notes at our disposal. So it makes a huge difference if among those 12 notes, you are now allowed to play 2 more notes. It's going to give us many more dots on the fretboard. It's going to give us more notes per string. And that is essential to playing fast. It is a whole lot easier to play 3 notes per string than it is to play 2 notes per string. This is much harder. It might not look like it is a difference, but it is much harder, trust me. Playing 2 notes per string means you're going to have to do these string traverses much more often. And string traverse is usually where guitarists fail. It's fairly easy to learn to play fast on one string, but it's much harder to learn to play fast on several strings, and that's because of string traverse. So if you only have 2 notes you're allowed to play per string, you're going to have to make a string traverse much sooner, or at least in your typical up and down lick, right? Whereas if you're going to play 3 notes per string, you can do, and you can actually stay there for quite some time. So there are many reasons why I often resort to the minor scale when shredding, as opposed to the pentatonic scale, which I said was my #1 scale. So, the minor scale is a 7-note scale, and not only that, it also has sounds which the pentatonic scale does not. More specifically, it has tension built into it. The pentatonic scale doesn't really have that. And that is very cool if you want to build more sad melodies, if you want to build more exotic melodies, and a lot of other tonalities. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yes, and Yngwie definitely uses the minor scale quite a bit. So, here you can hear first the pentatonic scale. I'm going to be playing some blues licks, and then I'm going to be playing fast in the minor scale. Minor scale, right? Back to the pentatonic scale. Minor scale. Back to the pentatonic scale. Now I'm going to be playing melodies with the minor scale to get some tension. Okay, so there you have it. Quite a difference between those two scales. Now I'm going to show you how to actually play the minor scale, because I'm just going to assume that you know this first minor pentatonic box. If you don't, just search for pentatonic box. It's the first thing that's going to come up. Now all we need to do here is add 2 notes per octaves. So we're going to do exactly that. We're going to start from the root note here on the 7th fret in B minor, and then we're going to play what is called the 2nd on the 9th fret. Then we're going to play what is called the minor 3rd. These are scale degrees. They have nothing to do with the frets or anything like that. Instead, they are the way, they are the names assigned to the different steps in the scale. So we have the minor 3rd, then we have the 4th, we have the 5th, we have the minor 6th, and we have the minor 7. So you're going to be noticing we added this note and this note to the pentatonic scale. Those are the 7 notes, and then once again they are 7 among the 12 notes that are at our disposal. We only have 12 notes on the guitar. So let me play those. Now I'm going to continue them up. I'm only playing those 7 notes. But I'm playing them in different octaves and in different positions. 7 notes among 12 notes. We only have 12 notes on the guitar. Yeah, I do take song requests, and I will when we're done. So pretty soon we're going to be done and we can speak about anything. Okay, so now you know the pentatonic scale, and we've added these 2 notes. This gives you a great foundation. But there is an elephant in the room, and that is, when you're playing these notes, it probably doesn't sound anything like when I'm playing them. And you're asking yourself, is there something more to it? After all, when I learned my first chord, all I had to do was strum it. And I was playing songs, but I don't feel that I'm playing any solo right now. I just feel like I'm playing crap. So here's the deal. You cannot simply strum a scale and expect it to sound good. Instead, you're going to have to start practicing licks, patterns, and phrases within your scale. That is how you actually learn a scale. What I am doing here is just giving you a very quick introduction to where to put your fingers. And then I'm showing you, hey, once you practice it, you can start doing all this stuff, okay? So that is something which a lot of beginners miss out on. They think that learning to play solo is just like learning to play basic rhythm guitar. You learn a few chords and you're done. You learn a few scales and you're done. No, that's not how it works. So, how do you actually start practicing scales? So what you should do here is find an exercise or a pattern or even like a riff or lick that you repeat inside the scale that you like the sound of. And one way to do that is actually to base that exercise on one of your favorite solos. Because if you do that, then you're going to feel that even though you're practicing theory, you're practicing a scale, you're working your way towards your goal. And since acquiring the amount of technique needed to play this kind of stuff is very time consuming, if you don't have a very specific plan on how to learn these scales but also reach your goals, chances are you're going to put your guitar down before you reach the goal. So I could start giving you licks and stuff like that, but I don't really like that because I'm not sure they are going to be the licks that you like the sound of. It is a good idea to maybe have meet up with a private tutor and he or she can help you design these exercises so that they match where you're trying to take your playing. Now, I practice a million different licks and patterns. They are the reasons why I can use my muscle memory and go around like this. There's also different patterns and licks, and the more melodic I get, I get, the less I actually rely on like pre-practice patterns, and I try to be a bit more free and improvise. But whenever you see me playing fast, at best the improvisation consists in how I combine these patterns. But the patterns are always going to be muscle memory. And to teach your muscle memory these patterns, you're going to have to practice them over and over within your scale. So this is key. You have to understand that the first step is just visualizing the scale. But that's a very tiny step compared to actually practicing the scale with patterns, licks, and phrases that you like the sound of. Okay, so I'm gonna actually leave it at that. I think that's more than enough for, I think, most of you to digest. I think for some of you, this is gonna be basic, but for many of you, this is also gonna be news. So I'm gonna keep the replay. You can rewind the tape, watch it many times, and you can Google these scale names. Just search for the pentatonic scale and the minor scale, and you're gonna find these scale diagrams. You can start practice them again with licks and patterns that you like the sound of, and eventually you'll be able to start using them in your playing. So now I can see all your comments, and I'm sorry I didn't catch them up until now. I don't know the banana song. I wish I did. Sounds like fun. I'm a banana. I heard that. That's some YouTuber tune. California finally met. I don't know what that is. So yeah. But I hope you found this useful. We have a lot of times now, so a lot of time left, so we can speak about anything you want to. Slayer, you saw my older stuff. Awesome. How high were you back then? On a scale from 0 to 10, I was -1. I don't like being high. So let's see. I also do a lot of other things that are not within the minor and pentatonic scale. For example, arpeggios. But I do like to play arpeggios within the minor scale as well, and I call that diatonic arpeggio. So let's try that. Oh, and my sound card died, damn it. So one more time here. Yeah, I'm preparing for launch. Preparing for lunch, sounds like that. So one more time, arpeggios. So actually that was mostly minor scale, but I was also playing arpeggios that are contained within the shapes of these minor scale patterns, and that is called diatonic arpeggios. So, Hotel California, I don't know it. Oh, thanks for the chicken picking. I do chicken picking quite a bit. To practice sweeping, you actually have to do the housework. Okay, that's true, it's true. Have to do your, how do you call it, your chores? You did not explain what adding 2 and 5 to the minor pentatonic does. It's pretty important. Explain. The 5 is contained within the pentatonic scale. So maybe you're speaking about the flat 5. That's a pretty cool thing you can do. You can add any of the other 12 notes or the remaining 7 notes to the pentatonic scale, and that's going to give you different flavors. So let's do that. I'm in B minor now, and I'm going to be adding a lot of additions now. There's the flat 5, okay? You can also add the major 3rd. You can add the 2nd or the 9 as you were speaking about. And we can combine all of those and we get a totally different scale. Flat 5, bluesy, heavy metal, devil's interval. We can add the Dorian note, the major 6. With a flat 5, we get a very interesting scale. Major 3rd again. So yeah, we can go on forever. We can add all the notes we want to, but the pentatonic scale is a great starting point because they give you the strong notes. So you can then sprinkle on some colors by adding those outside notes, and there are a lot to choose from. The flat 5 is common, the 2nd or the 9th is common because it's part of the minor scale. We can add like the Dorian notes is common, especially if we go into like more jazzy, bluesy stuff. The minor 6, super common, belongs to the minor scale, and I could go on forever. Or actually, I could not. I can go on until we have those 12 notes, which are at our disposal on the guitar and on any Western instrument, basically. Yeah, I love the Aeolian natural minor scale. That's what I call the minor scale. So it has many names. Aeolian mode, minor scale, natural minor. It's the same 7 notes. Finger picking, the Dod's father. Great question. So you can look at my right hand, and hopefully you're gonna see that I'm using my fingers quite a bit. Check it out. You can see I'm using it quite a bit. Can you see I'm using it? Could also skip the pick. So I just had to remove Anne-Marie because she started by saying Privyet from Russia, and that's already something, if you're conducting an illegal invasion in Europe, maybe also say that you're not proud of what your country is doing, but who cares? And then you started spamming us, so goodbye. It's nice. What if you could do that with Putin? Just remove him with your finger. Okay, so I love Aeolian too. Play it on bass only for Malmsteen style. Yeah, exactly. The minor scale works great on bass. What is FYT guitar? Sorry. I don't know what that is. FYT. I'm very curious. So I'm gonna try now fingerstyle picking without without the pick. So let's try that. Yeah, I booted Anne-Marie. I never ban people, but if they start waving Russian flags and then spam all over, it's like, yeah, we know your playbook. Okay, so here we go. So I do that as well, fingerstyle, right? Mess up a little bit. I do like picking. I do like adding the open pick. So this is an LTD MH1000. So I love fingerstyle picking, but I spent many years learning to play with the pick, so I'm gonna keep it there, especially for. What is YYZ? I don't understand what that is. You gotta ask me questions that make sense. Messing up is just an imperfection, that's right. So 9s or 10s, I use 09 to 46 on this guitar, Elixir. So thin at the top and thick here. Ooh, any simplest trick for tapping strings, thin to thick. Oh, and I messed up. So for tapping, what I do a lot is two-handed tapping. So basically, in order to do that, you have to be able to play with your left hand only. So in other words, I'm not using my right hand. And that allows me to quite easily add some tapping on top of that. So I actually use the Pentatonic scale quite a bit for tapping. And we can take this as an example. I'm tapping with my left hand the E string 10th fret. So this is tapping with my left hand, basically a hammer on from nowhere. And then I tap with my right hand the 12th fret. So we get, and then I pull off. So. And then pull off again, but with the left hand. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the whole lick, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Tapping with the left hand, tapping with the right hand, pull off with the right hand, pull off with the left hand. And then I'm gonna move my tapping finger up and down so I get variations. And then I move it down from the thinner strings to the thicker strings, which is what you asked about, I believe. That was amazeballs. I like it. You didn't mess up, your fingers were just too fast. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. What guitar pick am I using? So this is, you can't tell anymore because it's worn out, but this is a Jazz 3 Tortex. This is not a Line 6 amp, it's a Mesa Boogie Mark V. any good electric guitar under $500? Yeah, you can find a lot. I find that especially Strat S-style knockoffs, they can be very good value for money. So I would look there and maybe upgrade the pickups. Find a S-style, Strat-style guitar that feels good, looks good, buy it. And even if it doesn't sound good, you can probably change the pickup and it's gonna sound cool. But it's always a good idea to have someone with you, as you look for guitars, as someone that's more experienced. Combo versus half stack doesn't really matter to me. Whatever, I use this in my studio, so combo works fine. But if I want a stack, that's fine as well. Might be easier to transport, maybe. I don't know. I've had both. Pick is very bouncy. I love bouncy phrasing, especially when combining pick and fingers, I find you tend to get a bouncy sound. Yeah, Fender Player Series, exactly. Oh, are they around 800? That sounds like a lot. I think you can get cheaper. Play something. What am I gonna play? So, man, that's tricky. Let me see. Not my bag. That's my best attempt. Yeah, I have a looper pedal here. Should we try it? Maybe if we can come up with something. So I don't know if you can tell here. I'm gonna angle down a little bit. Here's my messy floorboard, and this pedal here, the small blue one, TC Electronic, I use it for looping. So, but I'm not sure. That's too loud. Let's B4 and okay, so we have the loop now. Okay. I need to get into the mood now. Maybe I should change and get a Strat instead. I think I'll be able to get more twang out of this one. Hey Christopher, hello there Earthquake. Sorry about that one. Sorry for butchering your names. I always do that. Can't help myself. Cool. I need to work on more on my neo soul, I think. I don't know if that was even close to sounding like neo soul. Now we're gonna try how this sounds with this clean loop sound with some distortion on top of it. Oh. Doesn't sound at all, that's the answer. So I don't want to kill myself with levels right now. The thing is, I got these 3 channels completely differently configured in terms of, if you know the Mark V, you know that you can choose the wattage mode on each channel, and you can choose how much goes to the power amp, and I'm too tired to figure out how to get the levels up on the clean one. So we'll just go for distortion. Thank you, Rolito. Thank you for subscribing. So, how to figure out next fret for transition on tapping things thin to straight. So if you want to figure out where to put your fingers when tapping, going on from thick to thin, or thin to thick, doesn't matter, you're going to have to visualize where the scale positions are. So in order to do that, you're going to have to practice at least I would say 2 scale positions if you're tapping. So if you're in the pentatonic scale, you might want to learn like the first box and the second box, and that's going to tell you where to tap and where to place your fingers. I don't know The Flu by Deftones, sorry. Vintage! Keep on rocking, man. I don't know Planet Caravan. Caravan, yeah. Pantera. I sorrow. How do I donate? Thank you for supporting me. You can just go to my channel and you're going to find a link on top there. And you could become my Patreon. That would be amazing for me. So these are passive pickups. I'm not a big fan of active pickups. I had them installed in an Ibanez. So it was very nice for chuggy stuff, but for everything else I didn't like it, just too much. So I'm a fan of low output pickup or medium output pickups. So these are low output pickups. These are bare knuckle old guard, so it's like the cheaper series, but they still sound pretty cool if you ask me. Yeah, you can hear it yourself. They're a lot of fun. Whoop, I messed up. Yeah, well, with active pickups, I don't know. Yeah, sure, warmth, you probably sacrifice that, but most importantly, what you sacrifice are the dynamics. It's a bit like you have a built-in mega compressor booster into your guitar, and sometimes that's awesome. That's why I have a booster and a compressor on my pedal board. But many times it's not awesome, and if you have active pickups, you cannot remove that effect. It's built into your guitar, and that's why I don't like it. It's awesome sometimes, but it's just sometimes, not all the time. So sure, I could maybe have one guitar with active pickups, maybe, but then I hate the fact that if you leave your guitar cord in, you're screwed because the battery has died. You know, it's not my favorite thing. I use all analog here. I mean, the reverb is digital, but you know, it's pretty much analog, right? It's Big Boy, Strymon Big Sky. I also have the Kemper, but I've actually stopped playing digital a lot. It's totally analog now. It's funny how that went, because I played the Kemper for many years. You know, I have it right here on my messy desk, but I just I ended up not playing amplified at all, and I didn't really understand why in the beginning. I was like, yeah, I like the sound of a the clean tone of, or just the unamplified tone of my electric guitars. You know, I did play that for a year, and then I started realizing, hey, there's something with digital which I don't like, or at least a Kemper, and it's how the attack. You know, there is a slight delay that isn't audible, because there's some digital processing happening, but it's feelable, and I just I realized that, hey, with an analog amp, I want to play plugged in again, and that's awesome, because if you've spent decades learning to control distortion, then maybe sometimes you want to play with an amp, right? So I'm happy I found my way back to analog, and I think I'm going to stay there for quite some time. And that doesn't mean I won't be using digital. It's super handy, but whenever I can, it's analog. So my pedal board is this. Quickly, this is for reverb, the Big Sky. This is an old digital delay pedal, DD3. I use them in conjunction right now, so just like a slapback delay and then reverb on top of that. This is just for looping. I use the flashback delay for that. I have a noise presser, I have a tuner, I have a TS808, which is currently engaged. I use it quite a bit for high gain tones. Full tone OCD, I use it also quite a bit for more dynamic, bluesier tones often, but even high gain, it's an awesome pedal. The Ego compressor Wampler, it's engaged right now. It has a parallel switch, which means you can basically get parallel compression in real time, so not only in post-production, which is awesome. I use it a lot. It's great for either just fattening up the sound a little bit, even for distortion and lead tones, or you can use it as a standard compressor. And then I have the MXR Dynacomp, which is also a compressor, but I mostly use it for boosting, which means I have the output maximized, and sensitivity, I just use it like a tiny little bit, but not a whole lot. That's my pedal board. I don't even know what the Antichrist is. At what age did you start playing the guitar? I started around 10 years. I got like a nylon string guitar, and then I got serious, really serious about it when I was 17 and 18. So I did attend like some basic music classes, and I learned to play. But I didn't care a whole lot about it. I didn't think that playing guitar was something you could do all day long and really invest your time and get good at it. I understood that later when I was 17 and 18. So I would say I played around 30 years now. Does that make sense? I'm 43. Yeah, I think it makes sense. Play Megadeth. Woohoo! Megadeth. I don't know. Man is a Michael Rosen of guitar. I don't even know who that is. I am not Christian, no. If you ask me whether there's a higher, what's the word? Well, you're the wrong man to ask. I don't know. There's a higher force, maybe. What Mesa combo amp is that? It's a Mesa Boogie Mark V. I was able to put bare knuckles silos in my Charvel. I love them. Awesome. Yeah, bare knuckles are cool. Do you have any tips on restringing guitars? I always get scared to let snap in my face. Well, when you restring, why are you scared of snapping in your face? You can just turn the, tune the string down so it's totally loose, and then you can cut it off. You won't get the string in your face. I don't know Darude Sandstorm. I don't know, beat it. Let's do... I think that's the only... Oops. We had an accident there, damn it. Okay, okay. We had a little accident, folks. I'm gonna take you with me, and we can all use this as a lesson on how to not do things in your studio. So here's what happened. Let me see if I can put some light on this. This is actually the first time I think ever I break something in these streams. So I'm going to show you what happened now. On my amp here, I had a power attenuator standing. And for the sake of these streams, I've angled this amp upwards, just so that the sound is going to come straight into the phone. And what happened was, the whole amp was tilting, and this power attenuator fell to the floor and smashed the lamp. Now that on its own is not very good, but it's not lethal. However, this power attenuator also has the speaker cable coming to it. And if I play the amp without the speaker cable, I might damage the amp. And this is a very expensive amp. So the first thing I did when that happened was I turned off the amp immediately. So I hope all is good. I see that the speaker cables are still connected, so I should be okay. These are speaker cables going into the power attenuator from the amp, and then out from the power attenuator into the amp. So these have to be connected at all times, otherwise you will damage your amp. So, very nice. We get some action in the stream. So did you hear when that, yeah, it sounded like it too, but that's not what happened. So I think that means I'm gonna have to stop playing for now, because I wanna make sure everything is in order here and not blow up my amp so I have nothing to play with for you guys. That would be horrible. I can see glass. Man, it really came all over the place here. Must have flown up high into the air. It's crazy stuff. So yeah, a little action in the stream there. Let's see. Maybe I can turn the camera around. Let's see. Yeah, I can do that. So here you go. Here's the mess on the floor. I'm gonna go through again what happened. So this is the power attenuator I have standing on the amp as the amp was tilting in order to get sound straight into the phone. And it fell off and it smashed the lamp I had here, just like an atmospheric LED lamp, basically just to give me some nice light. I didn't use a whole lot and it's pretty cheap, but doesn't matter. The big thing is, of course, that this power attenuator has speaker cables into it. If I pull one of these speaker cables out and play the amp, I might totally damage the amp. So I got really scared when this happened and turned the amp off immediately. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do some cleaning now, and I'm gonna pray my stuff didn't break. Yeah, glass on the carpet, not fun. But yeah, we had covered the topic I wanted. We covered scales, and we've done a lot of questions, stuff like that. So hopefully you got something out of this session, although in spite of us having a technical failure. Of course, it's all my fault. There was a risk in tilting the amp, and it was very stupid not to check what was behind the amp. I should have reacted on that lamp. That's how you learn. You mess up and you improve. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. It's been an amazing session. And I hope you can live with my shortcomings. I hope the next one is going to be free from technical incidents. You've been an amazing audience. I've been Chris Vidal. Thank you so much for tuning in. See ya. Cheers.